You know, if you take everything I've accomplished in my entire life and condense it down into one day, it looks decent.
Yeah, we'll do the Good Boys.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here on The Decent Show, we are going to do a review of Good Boys. This is Ryan, joined by Reagan. We had previously talked about doing a review of Good Boys on our previous episode, and it really just went off onto a tangent about sports and things like that. So I hope you understand. We got a lot of sports talk covered. And so we recently saw Good Boys with Jordan, and all three of us had the exact same reaction, which I was pleased with that, and I was also really pleased with the movie. I was not expecting to like it so much.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Jordan. He did his classic move, which is where you get to the theater just in time, and everybody's settling down. Everybody's got their popcorn.
Everybody's very comfortable.
Got their drink. They're comfortable. Their feet are kicked up. They got those nice recliners. And we get in there late, and he goes right through them, and he just kicks the crap out of their feet. It's like so much so he almost tripped himself.
Yeah,
that's how hard he hit their legs.
I just assumed he tripped himself.
No, he hit the crap out of these people's legs. They were
there was no space, dude.
No, there wasn't. But it was just still funny how he was just I don't care. He never turned around and said I'm sorry or anything. He was just focused on getting to that chair. And then you did the same thing, which was great.
I tripped.
Yeah.
I was because I'm so used to Cinemark. Whenever you go to Cinemark and they have the recliners out, even if people have their shit all the way reclined out, you still have a walkway to get through. There was no walkway. I was having to walk one foot in front of the other and just drag them.
Yeah.
Because I almost took out my knee the second I tried to because I went left leg first and then I put my right leg in there and it just hit the shit out of the barrier, and I fell over, and they were people started laughing, and I go, yeah, and then we just sat down.
Yeah.
But it was rough. But yeah, classic Jordan. So yeah, they got a double dose of getting hit
while they're trying to enjoy a movie. Nothing like it.
Also, screw the movie lady, because she was that showing's already started. As if she wasn't going to sell us the tickets.
That show hasn't already started. It's 8:20. The show started at 8:15. We've got another hour and a half of commercials to get through.
Well, see, that's what was crazy, is it was actually 8:30, because I pulled into the lot at 8:28, and I was like, shit, dude, we're going to be late. And then it took forever for us to get somebody to assist us and give us tickets.
Yeah.
And then the chick giving us our tickets with special needs, and Jordan, for some reason, wanted to do 3 separate transactions instead of just buying all the tickets when I told him I had cash.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I got cash. And he's like, okay, cool. And I go, so buy my ticket. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. Why else would he need to know you had cash?
Exactly. And so it took forever, and we still didn't miss anything of the movie. So screw that movie lady for being don't you want the $9.50? It's no, bitch, I'm not gonna hang out here for an hour.
Movie trailers are getting more and more ridiculous. Honestly, they're just, I don't know. There's too much. It's just start the damn movie,
Yeah, but I feel they almost have to, just because they're yo, we've finally got people here. Let's try to keep them coming and show every trailer of every genre. That way, hopefully, we reach all these people. Yeah. I don't know.
So what did you think of the movie?
So, I think it's a classic. I want to put it in that classic category. I think it's going to be a movie just like, the Naked Guns and the Caddyshacks and the Role Models and I Love You Man and Superbad. I'm just going to watch it
endlessly.
Endlessly, yeah. Not that I'm going to watch it every weekend or whatever, but anytime I'm man, I could use a laugh. It'll definitely be thrown in that category with those other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Initial thoughts, because I went back and listened to our episode that we recorded here recently, the Random Thoughts episode that just dropped.
Mm-hmm. Check that out on the Decent Show.
Decent After Dark, yeah. And which, by the way, great drop at the end of that episode, by the way.
Yeah, dude.
And
sometimes I can't find something that matches what we talk about in the episode, so I just pick something completely random.
That's fine. It's a good quote. Point blank range. And then what happened? They got away. They left. Yeah,
they left.
So our thoughts on Good Boys before seeing it on that episode were generally negative. We were both yeah.
I feel like you were gonna I feel like going off that episode, you were probably gonna enjoy it. You were like, yeah, that was good. And I was probably gonna be like, that was all right. Because I was worried that this would be a Seth Rogen movie just without him.
Yeah, I re-listened to the episode. You're very adamant about being against Seth Rogen and him being involved in the movie. And
I'm tired of his shtick. I'm tired of him. Like, I think he's like Will Ferrell, where I feel like I really appreciate a few of his movies, but he's like, they've fallen off. I feel like they're just coasting on what they've achieved.
Yeah.
They're not really trying to make a great movie now. They're kind of like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, kind of.
A better Adam Sandler, because Adam Sandler's movies are obviously worse, but still.
Well, I guess that's tough, too. I mean, a guy like Seth Rogen, like you said, you're tired of him smoking weed all the time, but at the same time, anytime he's not doing that, other people are like, what? Why is Seth Rogen not being funny and smoking weed right now? So I almost feel like he can't win. He's like Ryan Reynolds that we've talked about before. He's like put in a box.
Yeah.
And he can't break out of that box. And I don't know how heavily involved in the movie he was, but this might be a good role for him. You know, if he can't act in the movie the way he wants to, you know, maybe he can make a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. So, but again, I don't know how much of that was because of him. Now, granted, his name's all over it, and he's all over the advertisements, but that also might just be to get people to come see it. Because no one's ever heard of the other directors and writers and producers. They've heard of Seth Rogen.
Yep.
So, I mean, he might have done nothing. He might literally just be their marketing
He might be
tool.
like Christopher Nolan on Man of Steel.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
I didn't even know Christopher Nolan was involved in Man of Steel.
He's executive producer.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, like we talked about on the last episode, Good Boys had 11 executive producers.
Exactly, and I bet one of them did something.
Yeah, probably.
They probably all helped with casting or something, maybe. But yeah, I do think it's like, you know, we didn't have Seth Rogen, we didn't have like the weed or whatever, like him always smoking weed, but the main plot centers around drugs,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know,
But it's also, they're at that time of adolescence, though. I mean, they're in middle school, and they're dealing with middle schoolers and high schoolers.
see, I don't want to say too much on this, but every Seth Rogen movie, you can say something like that. Like, you can say, well, you know, they're adults and they have their own place, and like, why wouldn't you smoke weed? Like, these guys just seem like they would just, you know, me smoking
To
weed.
me,
or whatever.
the one I agree with you is like it
Sausage
was a
Party.
sausage party. Yeah,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But I mean, Pineapple Express, that movie's literally about weed.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Superbad.
except
Is
for
there
that.
weed in Superbad?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay. I guess there is. I just can't remember. I don't know.
but it's just like all those movies. I'm like, yeah, you could easily do that, and you have an excuse right there.
Mm-hmm.
But you could also just not do that. You know, you could find a center around something else.
Well, also they live in a different like state than we do. I mean, they live in a state where weed is very commonplace. Weed is like alcohol. Everybody has it.
Yeah,
You know, we live in a state that doesn't. You know, it's illegal. So I feel like in their mind, in their world, having weed in every movie isn't a big deal because they have it in their everyday lives, like their coffee and their alcohol and whatever. And we don't.
So, but we're not gonna make 5 movies, and they're all gonna be about bad driving because we experience it every single day of our life.
I could.
I bet you could, but we wouldn't do it every single time. I don't know. That's just like still just like a nitpicky thing for me, is where I'm like, yeah, this plot's still centered around drugs, I guess. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm picking on Seth Rogen, but it's not. It's not just Seth Rogen. It's Seth Rogen and like Jonah Hill and freaking what's his name in Pineapple Express?
Oh, James Franco.
James Franco. God, yeah, they all sort of do the same shtick, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though the other two are getting away from it now, because Jonah Hill's like
He's done a lot of
he's done
different stuff.
serious movies, like he did like Moneyball. I doubt there's like him doing drugs in that. Like I would have said Wolf of Wall Street, but he does drugs in that movie.
But he's a way different character.
Way different character. And James Franco did the Spider-Man movies, and he did like
127 hours.
he did some show on like Prime or something where it's like 1923 or something like that. Yeah,
No,
so he's done like
it's,
serious acting.
The Deuce. It's called The Deuce, and it takes place in like the 70s or 80s.
No, he did like another show. It's
Oh.
called like 19 something rather, and it's
I
like
think I know what
a
you're talking
serious crime drama. It's like a mini series. It's not even a show.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
It's some year. Anyway, but yeah, like
And he also did. I want to see Disaster Artist. Isn't he in that?
yeah, he is in that. He's the
He's the guy. He's the
yeah,
director.
he is. They make that. Oh man, I can't believe we never saw that. It's
on Prime.
That's probably really funny.
It is. Or I don't know if it is. Sorry, but it's on Prime. We should watch it.
We should. So yeah, just like I don't know. Let's get into the movie. I guess what.
So the amount of sexual humor in the movie, normally I would like faux pas at it, but it was done really well, and it was hilarious, and it was also just again the situation that they're in. They're in middle school. They're getting ready to go through puberty.
That was so us in middle school, dude. I don't know if you
Yeah.
felt like I don't know if you felt
How
that,
so?
but I was like just like everything we're doing there. Like I remember riding my bike all the time, and I remember like I don't know, just doing stupid shit and like I don't know, like just being obsessed with like one girl for no reason. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole, I love how like they're just like, yeah, there's no reason really. Like she's like taking her retainer out of her mouth and like wiping it and like
Yeah.
picking her nose or something, and
Yeah.
he's just like obsessed with
And
her.
he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I just ugh.
And the even though they were way better at it, the whole I remember being in middle school and the whole like having a mediator girl, like for the girl that you have a crush
Oh,
on,
yeah.
there's that girl that's like, so what's up with you and Breeksy? And I'd be like, I don't know, what'd she say? And like just having that back and forth. Now, granted, the kid in the movie was way smoother because he didn't give anything away. I would have been like, yeah, like
I loved how like I felt like that girl was bad at acting, but I thought it was hilarious. Like
Really?
especially at the end of the movie, whenever she's like, "That's the most dramatic thing I've ever seen," and like her face doesn't move at all. It's just like, wow.
she was good. I think
But
that's how good she is.
I think that's like what they were going for, but I just love like, how stupid that looked. Her face just being like, "Oh my god."
Oh, dude. So, I loved the humor in the movie, and we talked about this right after the movie was over. I mean, it had two styles of humor, or two like big groups of humor. It had the super obvious, like, "Hey, this is a joke, you should laugh at it," and then they had like the more subtle, sarcastic, dry tone, like you know, if you weren't paying attention or you're not smart, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, and we laughed more at those ones rather than the just like, ha,
Yep.
kicked in the nuts.
I want to watch the movie again so I can like get the like specific times that it happened. But I would
I
say
just
there
told you
was
one.
yeah. Well, no, I know like there was 3 times like in the movie where like I would die laughing at something, and like we were the only ones laughing at it.
Well, we were dying at the insults from the
Yeah.
popular kids of like, your mom shut the fuck up. Your mom plagiarizes her cookbook, and it's just
Yeah.
like, what the hell? Like, what kind of insult is that?
Oh, dude, yeah, and we like lost it, and everybody else is like, huh?
But then there'd be like jokes like, let's get these bitches, like, and it'd be like the most pathetic kid would be saying, he'd be like, let's get these bitches or whatever, and everybody would die, like just die laughing.
Yeah.
And then I love the other one where he's talking and he's like, what does he say is the burn? He's like, oh, sippy cup, yeah, there's a good burn, and he's like, no, your dad got 2 DUIs and now has to take the train to work.
That's a good burn.
That's a good burn right there. God, dude, that was hilarious.
That was too good. Yeah, it's just so. I wish I could remember those jokes, but yeah, so many times where we would be the only ones laughing, nobody else is, and then even on the jokes where everyone's laughing, we still laugh.
Yeah, it's still funny.
So I think that's what I really liked about the movie is the fact that
And it was
that-
nonstop, dude. It was
Nonstop.
just funny. We're out of there. Like, we're done. Like, I felt like there was very little plot at
Yeah.
all. And even when it got serious, like, I remember they were like, oh, man, like your parents are getting divorced. Oh, that sucks. And then they, like, break his arm again.
Right.
Or pop it out of socket.
And then whenever they're all like, they basically cry and break up, but then they all have to walk home.
Yeah, and they're all walking right
Yeah.
next to each other. Great stuff.
But I guess that was kind of us in middle school. It's kind of because they're at 6th grade, and I don't really remember 6th grade that well. I remember I didn't have a ton of friends, and I was fat, and like, that's all. Because I didn't meet you until 7th grade, so we didn't do a ton of this stuff that they did. Now, granted, I remember we were in like 7th grade, and we were like found out that we lived like down the street from each other,
Yeah.
so we were like, oh yeah, let's like do the Beanbag Boy sleepover.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get the candy in the movies.
Did we miss why they call themselves the Beanbag Boys, I guess?
No.
They just call themselves that because
Yeah.
they have beanbags?
Yeah, because they have beanbags. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was worried because we missed maybe like the first 3 seconds of the movie or something. I was worried we missed that.
I think it was just that scene where they're all like in the fort for the first time,
Yeah.
and Mom tells them they have to wrap it up by 8, and they're all sitting in a fort of beanbags, and they're like Beanbag Boys for life. So I think that was it. But so I mean, we kind of did that, and I remember like me and Victor, since we lived down the street from each other, like all the time, like riding the bikes all through the neighborhood, like just trying to find shit to do. Like we airsofted like the neighbor's house or whatever, and like the airsoft guns. We
Yeah.
didn't have paintball, which I guess probably worked out for the best.
Yeah, that would have been worse.
Yeah. So we did stupid shit like that, and then sure enough, they ended up doing that in the movie. They paintball the frat guys. Great scene.
God, that was hilarious.
I
dude.
wish like more I guess maybe comedies do that, but they just did it so well where it's like they reenacted an action scene that we see all the time in these action movies, but literally with a paintball gun, and it was meant to be funny.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so well done.
I don't know why, dude. But
The
when
gook shots, dude.
the guy going down the stairs just getting shot in the nuts and then falling all over himself, my God, that floored me. And then like he thinks that the black kid like thinks he killed someone.
Yep.
God,
Yeah,
dude, that was
because
so
he like
funny.
ducks and the guy breaks through the table. He's like, "I just killed a guy."
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in the action movies. Like normally, whenever someone gets thrown like that
into a
they're-
table and it breaks.
they're out of the scene,
Yeah.
and he's like moving on to the next henchman. It's like, dude, that guy's not dead. He just went through a table. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like he's dead, and you know the good guy goes on and beats up other henchmen. So yeah, it's hilarious. He's like, "Yeah, I just killed a guy," and then the dude like so he got shot in the crotch and falls down the stairs, and then there's like another guy that maybe two guys, but either way, like just constant crotch shots.
Yeah, nothing but cross shots.
And he's like flying across the room with his crotch not even facing the paintball gun, and he's still getting shot like in the gooch and in the crotch.
Yeah.
Thought
in
that
slow
was-
motion.
In slow motion. Great use of slow motion too. That's how you use slow motion.
Yeah.
The other thing too is back to what we thought before we saw the movie. Again, neither one of us was like that high on it. We were both concerned that it was just going to be like every other comedy, a disappointment, not that funny. And I always complain about movies like comedies being too long. Like they could cut out this part of the movie and just keep it funny. And this movie had no fat on it.
No.
But I was worried that it was going to be too short. I was like, 90 minutes? I was like, what if it's like, it sucks? Like, they barely had enough to make 90 minutes,
Yeah.
but they just made the perfect movie in 90 minutes. They had no fat. There was nothing that needed to be...
Plot is just so paper, like just so little of it.
Yeah.
And you don't need it a lot in a comedy.
No.
Especially a comedy like this.
No.
That's super vulgar and all that.
Yeah. It's just little kids just going through their problems, basically. He's like trying to go to the party, and the party was hilarious. The little Asian kid was hilarious.
Dude, when they went to the Rock of Ages, and like it's like a normal show, it's like, oh, this is cute or whatever, and then all of a sudden he like whips out a table, throws it down, like snorts some cocaine off of it, and then goes into like a bathroom with one of the chicks
With a huge crack rock. He's
Yeah,
like-
and it shows all the parents, dude. It's just like they're
Well,
like,
that's
what
the
is going
crazy
on?
thing, though, is if you look closely, like some of the parents and kids are like concerned, and then other parents and kids are like clapping and
They're
smiling.
just
and-
smiling about it, yeah.
Good movie. I honestly, even if I had taken notes, I don't think I would have too many complaints. The only thing
There's got a couple.
you had a couple. Okay, the only thing I guess complained about, and it's not even a big deal because it's a comedy, it's a movie, I get it, but like they kind of brushed over the fact that he broke his arm.
Yeah,
And then it was just fixed for the rest of the movie, and he was fine the rest of the movie. It's a little unrealistic, but granted, most of the movie is, because I don't think you can get a drone for $600, especially one of that quality, because I've worked with drones before, and not that... There's a lot of stuff with the drone stuff that's unrealistic. I thought the arm thing was unrealistic, but again, it's a comedy, and it kept me laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm not even really complaining. I'm just stating it, kind of.
I like when he gets to the place and he's talking to the lady who sells him the drone. She's like, "Oh, I just sold the last one. 2 girls bought it," and he's like, "Son of a bitch!" Or like yells something at her. She's like, "Whoa,
murder your family!" Yeah, he's like threatening to kill her family, and
I was like, "Whoa."
yeah, that kid would be kicked out of there, dude, because he like threatened to kill her family, hopes that they all get cancer, and like he like really went off the rails.
No, the problem I had with it that I didn't think made any really any sense was the girls have drugs, right? Didn't pay anything for them. Then they have the drone. The kids steal that drone, and then it gets broken. And then they girls buy a drone, so they spend money. Why couldn't they have just bought drugs from surely someone else has drugs, or go to that frat house and ask for someone else?
Yeah,
or go to another frat house and there's probably another frat house that sells Molly.
Yeah,
and they basically were like, yeah, go get us the drugs and we'll give you the drone, and we'll call it even, basically.
Yeah, even though this kid's got a pocket full of cash.
And I'm like, he just gave you just spent like $600 basically just to get Molly.
To get 2 pills.
So basically what happened with them is they spent no money really, and they got the drone. And then the girls have to spend like $500, $600 to just get the pills back in the first place, Didn't really make any sense.
You're right.
And they're so happy about it too. They're like, yes, sweet, we got the deal done. It's like,
What about that $600 you dropped?
Yeah, like how much? It didn't seem like y'all have that much money, and like you're going to this concert as well. Like you're spending more money on the drugs than the concert, probably.
I agree with you. I forgot about, I guess, those details. I did have a problem with that because I thought, the high school girls' motives, a lot of it didn't really make sense in that regard. And maybe it's implied. Maybe it's implied that he was going to use the money to buy the drone. He couldn't because it was sold out. And that he basically maybe it's implied that he gave him the money, they gave him the drone, and he gave him the drugs. I don't know.
Yeah, but their plan was for him to go in there and buy them.
Of course.
Yeah, so I guess he left with the money and the drugs because they never paid him. They just stole the drugs.
Yeah, it's true. So I really don't know. They kind of brushed over that. And I guess a lot of that didn't make sense because, if they didn't exchange money, which they don't show them doing it and they don't talk about it, that means those girls are out $600.
Yeah.
For
two pills.
2 pills, yeah.
My other thing there is this is the second movie in a row where they make a Game of Thrones reference and it doesn't land, and I just think it's so funny because
they said winter is coming.
Yeah, I don't think the joke is funny at all, but I think that it's funny when you look back on it and you just see all these companies and all these people who are like, we're going to capitalize on the success of Game of Thrones, not knowing that the last season is like a complete shitstorm and disaster and everybody hates it. Mm-hmm. So you're just bringing up this thing that everyone hates instead of,
what you're trying to
making a joke about something everybody loves. I just think it's so funny that they like muffled that so badly. Like,
yeah.
Because they did it in Hobbs and Shaw, and then they do it in this movie.
Yeah, they did. And I don't know, sometimes it annoys me when people do that. Like, if you reference, like, Star Wars or something that's been around for 30 years, like, I'll get over it. But, like, I just don't like them referencing things that are very recent because, like, some things just come and go. Mm-hmm. Like, not, like we were just talking about with Entourage. Like, not everything that they do is going to be relevant 5-10 years from now.
And, like, in Bad Teacher when they reference LeBron not having a ring.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't. Bad Teacher. I thought that was We're the Millers.
Both, because
I think they just called him a crybaby that'll never be better than Jordan.
Yeah,
and
call me when LeBron has 6 championships. And
yeah,
is that the only argument you have?
It's the only argument I need, Sean. Yeah, I remember that.
Only funny line in the movie, honestly.
No, there's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
those are my only real problems with it. Really, I think it got a little it got a little less funny in the middle-ish.
Yeah.
Whenever she started chasing him on foot or whatever. Like that area when they start chasing him and he hurts his shoulder and it gets like a little less funny right there. Mm-hmm. But then it like picks up again and it's just funny again and then it just ends. So there's really not. I don't have a ton of critiques for it, honestly. Just the little stupid jokes here and there and the drug plot and the money not making any sense.
Yeah, and I know it's his character, so it's not necessarily a problem, but I did get a little annoyed with the black kid, like, spilling the beans every time.
Yeah.
Like, he could not just shut up. He had to, like, tell everybody everything that was wrong, but I did love, like, the way he was... I know divorce isn't funny, but, like, that divorce stuff was pretty funny between... Because that black guy is a comedian. I think that chick is, too.
She's from Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay. And so, yeah, just that whole interaction between the three of them.
And he's from Get Out.
The kid?
No, the man.
Oh, okay.
The TSA. TS motherfucking A. The very end, where he saves him. You ever seen Get Out?
Get Out?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, I don't know why I'm saying that.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen that, I don't think. Get Out is the Jordan Peele movie that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Not Us.
Nice. And then the other thing I was going to say, because we were in the theater, and there was a kid next to me. Like, this kid had to have been middle school or younger, or something. Like, you just tell she was young. With her family, and I'm just like, no, dude, like, why? Like, can't tell if the parents are that cool and laid back, or if they were like, hey, middle schoolers are in this movie and it's a comedy, like, let's go see it. And, like, not realizing that it's super rated R for a reason. And so I would just hate to be that kid. Like, so many, like, sexual
That's so awkward.
innuendos, so many sexual jokes, and it's like, at that age, you're kind of stuck in that place of, like, I don't get half of this, and then the stuff I do get, I almost don't want to laugh about it, because then they know I understand it.
Yeah.
They know I know what's going on. They're going to be like, how do you know about blowjobs and sex toys and stuff? And it's like... I don't know. Like, I just do. And
You can suck my dick, and you can suck my dick.
dick.
So I'm just supposed to sit here?
we do everything together. We're the Beanbag Boys. So I felt really, I guess, bad for that girl. And she was making weird comments throughout the movie. Like, all this crazy stuff's happening. She's like, what's up with these teachers? These teachers are wild. It's like, what about all the dildos and sex toys and, like, all these crazy jokes and, like, them getting chased by high school girls and all this stuff was going down. It's like, really? You're worried about the teachers? I don't know. It's just really weird. At the beginning of the movie, she's like, oh, like they said asshole and bitch or something. They hadn't even said fuck yet. Yeah. And she's like, I'm going to put my earmuffs on. It's like, you're going to be pretty busy, like the whole movie.
I'm not going to get much out of this film.
Yeah. And it brought me, because I had a note on this beforehand, and this movie really, like, just hammers home the note I had taken. So I already told you about this off air, but I was watching Friends, and it was the scene where Ross and Rachel are like having their date in the museum, basically, and they're like looking up at the constellations in the museum, and they're like having a juice box, and they start making out, and they're like on top of each other, and Rachel rolls over the juice box, but we don't see her do it.
Yeah,
she just rolls over and goes, "Oh man. That's okay, sweetie. It happens." He goes, "What are you talking about? You just rolled over the juice box." And she goes, "Oh, thank God." And so when I first saw that as like a kid, I was like, I don't get that. And, you know, watching it more recently, I'm like, oh, she thinks he came his pants. And, you know, he didn't, so she's super happy because now they can bang. So, like, I would just loved, like, especially at the age I'm at now, like, I would just love to see endless scenes like that with those sexual innuendos
never picked up on,
and just be like, what does that mean?
like that SpongeBob thing where his nose is sticking out of the ground. He's like, that better be your nose.
Yeah. I'd just like look at, I wish I could like look at my parents and be like, so what does that mean? Like, what? And just have them explain it. Like, I would love to put my parents in that situation.
Oh man,
we'd just be like, yeah, can you explain that? Like, what the hell is Rachel so like excited about? I mean, she just got a juice box on her. Why is she saying thank God? And then I would do that through the whole movie of Good Boys. I'd be like, oh, what's up with that swing? Why do they have a swing in their bedroom?
So I love when the sister shows up. It always does that like horror movie thing, and her name is Annabelle.
Yeah,
that is hilarious. Dude.
That is true.
Like, she just keeps appearing, and it's like, whoa!
Oh, yeah. Hilarious movie. I wish like IMDb was convenient enough to just show me every comedy that's been made in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Just so I could be like, yeah, this is probably the best comedy in the last 10 years.
All right, so let's
break them down.
Let's round this out. What are you giving this movie on our scale?
Fuego.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
give it a fuego.
Else.
Jordan had brought up some other movies. I'm thinking like Horrible Bosses.
Let's break it down real quick.
Okay.
Best comedy of the year.
It's the only comedy of the year.
So here's some comedies that came out this year.
Oh, we haven't seen Booksmart though.
We haven't, and that's apparently amazing. It's like an hour long.
No, it's not.
It's like shorter than this movie. It's like 80 minutes or something.
Oh, no shit. That makes me soft.
Yeah, same.
Actually, it's going to be quicker to watch now.
Shazam, apparently, is a comedy.
I wouldn't... okay, fine. I'll give that to him. So it's still way better than Shazam.
Toy Story 4, not really a comedy.
I wouldn't count that as a comedy.
The Hustle, never saw that. With Anne Hathaway and...
Oh,
Fat
that
Amy.
got horrible ratings.
Yeah. Long Shot, Seth Rogen.
That got decent ratings. I want to see it, but I could just tell by looking at it. It's like a com-rom is what I'm...
It looks like, yeah.
What I'm
it looks
gathering.
very serious.
Yeah.
Fighting with My Family.
I want to see that, too.
Aladdin, not really a comedy. Some movie called Little, that looks terrible. Isn't It Romantic? That copy of... Yeah, like where... I Feel Pretty.
Copy of I Feel Pretty. Amy Schumer and Rebel Wilson or whatever, both pieces of crap, yep.
Yeah. Medea, Family Funeral, no. Pets 2, no. What Men Want. I thought that looks funny.
Booksmart says it's an hour 42.
Not good. Oh, my bad.
Nice.
I don't know why I thought it was like 80 minutes. What else we got here?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to give a solid opinion because some of those movies I already know because either I've seen them or I don't like. Like I could just.
You can just tell by the vibe.
Yeah, but it's not going to be as funny or as good in my opinion. But a lot of them I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen Fighting with My Family, which I did want to see.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Long Shot or Booksmart, and I want to see all three of those movies. But in terms of being funny, I just don't see them being funnier than this movie. Booksmart might be a better movie in terms of movie quality or whatever, story,
Probably is.
character development, whatever. But
It doesn't like that movie doesn't look funny at all.
yeah, exactly.
And but this movie wasn't nearly as funny looking in the trailers. Like in the trailers, it was like, I'll be all right, and then it was hilarious.
And I think that's just because maybe there was so much sexual and like cussing throughout the movie that they just really couldn't show that in a trailer. Because it's not appropriate for TV.
You know what another thing, like a good example in this movie is of like referencing something is when they call like get out of here, Stranger Things, like because they look exactly like that.
Yeah.
And because like that's something that someone would like maybe say. No one would be like winter is coming. Like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, it was more of a burn than a joke.
And
it was a good burn.
I remember where I saw that guy from. He's like in he's in How I Met Your Mother, the dad.
Oh, the dad, yes.
And he's like this really. He plays the same role. He's another typecast guy where he's basically just this really lame and awkward guy
in every movie.
And he's in Parks and Rec too. He's in like How I Met Your Mother. He's trying to be like Barney's wingman, and like all of a sudden he gets like a bloody nose. He's like, "Oh, sorry, this happens every time I get an erection." Like he just says like the most awkward thing possible. And I loved how like awkward he was with his son when he caught him masturbating. Like that was just so weird.
So great.
He
was in MacGruber.
Yeah, that's right. I heard that movie was terrible.
Oh, I thought you'd saw it.
No.
The way you said it. He's also in Booksmart, apparently.
Dude, these comedies.
Bro, he's on fire right now.
So I'm gonna we haven't seen a lot of these comedy movies, but like I can just tell they're not good. So this is the best comedy movie of the year. But what is that? Is that impressive for this movie, or is that terrible for this year?
I think it's more impressive to say that it's going down in our books as like a classic, a rewatchable, possibly the best comedy in the last 10 years. I think that gives it. Gives it the justice it deserves. Saying it's the best comedy of this year
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean a whole lot. Yeah.
So yeah, best comedy in the 2010s. Just some ones it's got to compete with. 21 and 22 Jump Street.
Okay.
Bridesmaids. The Other Guys. This Is the End, which I know we're not crazy about. Nope. So I feel like we're the only people that feel that way for whatever reason. I feel like everyone is like, dude, that movie was lit.
But are they rewatching it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I'll hunt these people down and I'll ask them.
Yeah, send them
down. Neighbors 1 and 2. Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, see, on Neighbors 1 and Horrible Bosses 1, I think both of those are solid comedies. Didn't like the sequel to either one of them, and I still think Good Boys is better than all four of them.
Oh, wow.
Well, Horrible Bosses 1 is very close. I'll give it that. But to me, it's better than Neighbors. Easily.
Yeah, it's better than Neighbors. Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hated the sequel. First one's decent. Still way better than the first one, though. Good Boys is.
Get Him to the Greek. I really like that movie.
Yeah.
Spy. Never saw it.
Oh, Spy with fact-checking Jason Statham and all them?
Yes.
Decent. Like, it's not that great of a movie.
Okay. We're the Millers.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Underrated. It is, but people like it. I don't know. Is this better than We're the Millers?
I don't know. It's close.
Yeah, it might come down to an any given day, like what you're in the mood for. I would say, you know what though?
I'd say yeah, because I feel like it's better paced. I feel like it's just in and out, nothing but laughs.
That's true.
We're the Millers.
Has some story.
Some
slow parts.
Great movie though.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to say it's better than The Other Guys, just because The Other Guys.
It's so classic.
It's so classic, and it's got a pretty in-depth story, and it's bigger actors.
Yeah.
You know, it's not little kids. It's like Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, like two really big-time guys. So, and then obviously The Rock and Sam Jackson's and Michael Keaton. I would say The Other Guys is better, but I love both of those movies.
Okay, Ted.
That's another one. Did not care for the sequel.
Seeing a trend here.
Yeah, seeing a trend that they can't be as funny the second time.
Some movies just don't need sequels.
Yeah, I don't think Ted needed a sequel, but I thought Ted 1 was good. I still like Good Boys better, though.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a controversial one.
Wait, dude, what do you think about all of these?
I agree with all you're saying. I liked Hot Tub Time Machine a lot more, but I don't think that movie's funnier than this movie for sure. I like it. I don't know. To me, it's Because like that's one of the few movies that does time travel in such an interesting way.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it doesn't make total sense because obviously it's a hot tub time machine. But
With Chevy Chase.
yeah, exactly. But it's just like I don't know. It's just really funny and it's cool to see all the clever ways things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that movie where that guy loses that arm and like it always seems like he's about to lose it in the most ridiculous way, and it doesn't happen until the very end?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love that. And then yeah, I feel like Ted gets bogged down with story, but man, that movie is really funny.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, me neither. And I got a bad taste in my mouth from the second one.
Which I haven't seen that in a while either.
I don't want to watch it again. Yeah, but that movie does get bogged down by story because the whole like guy kidnaps the bear or whatever. I didn't care for his character. The guy who's obsessed with Ted and kidnaps him.
Yeah.
I hate that.
He's he's the creepy guy in a lot of stuff.
Anchorman 2.
Way better.
I really like Anchorman 2.
Why?
It's just funny to me. I really think it's like
What didn't you say they could cut out the one thing and then be good?
it'd be phenomenal. Yeah,
What
if they
thing?
just cut out the whole kid, not the whole kid, but I guess from the waist up. But no, like from
Yeah. Get rid of him from the waist up.
no, like if they just cut him out of that whole stupid shark scene.
Yeah.
If they just cut that scene out, I would love like every second of that movie because it's just more of the first one. Like it's just different stupid ways from the first one.
Yeah.
And I just love how he's like yelling out, "We're gonna have interracial sex." And he says like all that stuff at the dinner table, like, "Yo, slap me some of that on my a cracker or something." Like he's so stupid,
You
dude.
gots to pay me.
You gots to pay me in paper.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Damn it, Lupito, where were you doing? Eating Doritos. It's like he's 6 years old. Damn it, he's a man.
I did feel that some of it was a little over the top. I felt they were trying a little too hard on parts of that movie.
Yeah, the first one's better, but I really like that movie. I don't know.
Fine, like the movie, I don't
Fine,
care.
yeah. Deadpool 1 and 2.
Oh, another one, sequel. Dude, like, I don't think I could be more. Deadpool 2 is up there for me in like most disappointing sequels. But that's just from theater reaction. I bet you if I rewatched the movie, I'd be like, yeah, it's a good movie. But like when I was in the theater, I was like, yo, this low-key sucks.
Yeah.
Just because I thought the first one was so great, it just needed a better villain. And the second
More money.
one kind of gave you a better villain, but not really. Not really.
Well,
Because
I'd say
Cable ended
worse. It's a worse villain.
It's a
'cause
worse villain.
There is no villain.
There is no villain, exactly. 'cause
But it's
Cable-
not like Ant-Man where it's not as much like Ant-Man because in Ant-Man you never thought there was a villain. In Deadpool 2, you were like, dude, this villain's like the big bad, like they're going after him and all that. You know?
And they end up being they like fight like once, and they end up being like teammates essentially that don't like each other, and then like it's they're trying to control the little kid that's angry, and like the church pervert is basically the bad guy. It's just like
Yeah.
it was very disappointing. And then Juggernaut's in there, but again, he has a CGI fight with the Iron Guy, and like I don't know, it's just whatever. I was very disappointed in that movie. And so yes, I think Good Boys is better than it. And the other thing Good Boys has going for it is like what we said earlier. It's 90 minutes with no fat, so it's just so hard to beat a movie like that.
Yeah, it is.
It's so hard to beat something that's so efficient.
Another movie, Hangover Part 2. Terrible sequel.
Yeah, Hangover 2 is pretty bad. And you know what's crazy about that trilogy is that all three of those movies are enjoyable and funny, and I could watch them, but like just didn't really need the second or the third one.
No.
The third one's plot is so out there, which is good because it's different,
Uh-huh.
but it was so out there that it got bad ratings, I guess. I don't know, because I enjoyed the third one more than the second one, because the second one was literally a repeat, but
Yeah.
they were in a different setting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Date Night?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that one. I heard y'all talking about it the other night.
Pretty funny. I think that Good
Kind
Boys
of a
is better
hot
than
take
it.
here. I'm not crazy about Steve Carell.
God, get the hell out of this house.
I like him in The Office and Anchorman. Other than that, there's very few things that I've seen that I like him in.
I like him in Get Smart. I like that
You're
movie.
right. Yeah, you're right.
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Okay, those 4 movies. Then.
Okay, well, I like him in that, but he's not the reason that movie's great.
No, but you're right. Those 4 movies. I think outside of those 4 movies, which I guess 4 movies is still a nice body of work, but like I'm not crazy about Dinner for Schmucks. Not crazy about Date Night.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he kind of is the same guy in every movie. He's the stereotypical white guy. Yeah. He's the same way in Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, but he's more depressed.
Yeah. I don't care.
Have you seen that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I like that movie a lot.
Yep.
Which is weird because it's so emotional.
Oh, yeah. It was very weird. Yeah, I watched it with a girl that I was dating at the time, and I think she really liked it, too. She had never seen it, and I was like, well, I've never seen it either, and it's a com-rom, so, like, let's check it out. And I think we both, like, really liked it, but, you know, I haven't seen it since.
Yeah. The Campaign.
Solid movie. I've been meaning to rewatch The Campaign for a while just because we went to college with a girl named Shayna, and in the movie, Will Ferrell has like an affair with a girl named Shayna, and he's like, "Man, I wish I wouldn't eating this chicken fried steak. I'd rather be eating that Shayna pussy." And like, he like says that on a voicemail. For, I guess, like, Zach Galifianakis or for Will Ferrell's wife. Somebody that's not supposed to hear it hears it. And it was so funny. And we used to quote that all the time because Shayna was, like, somewhat attractive. So, like, we'd be at lunch and we'd see her walk by and be like, man, I wish I wasn't eating this. Whatever. Anyway, so I want to rewatch that movie, but I don't think it's better than Good Boys. But I do think it's a decent comedy. It's another one that kind of gets bogged down by, I guess, trendiness. It was kind of like Will Ferrell's like reign of, hey, I'm going to do a bunch of comedies with other people that are funny. And so like Zach Galifianakis was writing the Hangover and Due Date High.
Yeah.
And so they do a movie together, Campaign, you know, and then like Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart did Get Hard and stuff like that. And those movies just, I feel like they try too hard. So they're still funny because the actors are funny, but just not as good as Good Boys.
All right, I'll give you a couple more. Central Intelligence. No. Weak. American Reunion.
Great. I love the American Pie movies.
They're underrated as hell, dude. They're all good.
All four of them.
Yes, the
four main cast. Yes, the four main cast movies. All four of them are great, and I've actually, once I finally watched them, I've pretty much consistently watched all four of them over the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. They throw a lot of like Marvel movies in here. I really don't count those as comedies.
Yeah, because they're funny, obviously, but not.
They couldn't stand on their own as comedies, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think they could. I mean, not even Thor Ragnarok. They put Crazy Stupid Love in here. That's not really a comedy either.
So
yeah,
I guess I'm kind of lost here just because I feel like I'm the one giving my opinion on these movies. Did you find anything?
I agree with most of what you're saying. I'd say it's top 5 easily.
So what else is in that top 5 then? Anchorman 2?
I gotta put Ted in there. I gotta put Anchorman 2 in there for me.
Other guys?
Hot take. I gotta put the other guys in there as well.
You had said Hot Tub Time Machine, but I didn't know where you really landed on that.
No, definitely not, because it's not...
You just appreciate it.
It's not a comedy. I just enjoy that movie, and not even because it's funny, because I enjoy the funny parts, but I like time travel when it's done well.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Top 5 for sure of the decade.
Okay. I could agree with that. And potentially best comedy of the year. I do want to see Booksmart. I feel like Booksmart's got the best chance of giving it a run for the money. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of the other movies have really nearly as much of a chance. Maybe Fighting with My Family, but...
And Get Him to the Greek. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you love that movie. I was never high on that movie. I watched it, and I was like, eh.
We feel the same way, but opposite about the two the August Snow movies.
Yeah. Forgetting Sarah Marshall and
Get Him to the Greek. And I'm like, eh.
Dude, I love Sarah Marshall.
I know.
That's such a good movie. Just everything about it. I don't know. It's the... to me, it's a perfect com-rom, besides I Love You, Man. Those two movies to me are like perfect examples of com-rom, where like you care about the character, he has a romantic interest, it's kind of a big deal, but they're mostly funny.
Yeah,
and whenever they do get serious, it doesn't ruin the movie like other comedies do.
You know what's crazy? Like, I think the overall thing I've learned, I guess, what I learned today was what I saw was, I was like, man, it's definitely not the best comedy of the decade, because I was like, there's just no way, But then all these movies that we really like are old as hell now, because it's been so long since we've had great comedies. Like I Love You Man and Blades of Glory and Step Brothers and Talladega Nights
Role
and
Models,
Wedding Crashers,
yeah.
And
Anchorman 1,
Anchorman
2,
1.
even Anchorman 2 is 6 years old now.
Yeah.
So Other Guys is 8 years old.
Yeah, barely in the decade.
So
It's been so long since all these good movies came out.
And it's kind of pathetic because, but I guess it's the same way with like my gangster movies. It's gangster movies and comedies and basically stuff that isn't a superhero right now. Like you only get like a really good one every few years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
We didn't. Did you ever watch the Dolomite trailer? No. Okay, because that might be another comedy that has potential. I didn't see the new Shaft, but I'm sure that
We
wasn't
didn't
good.
see a Stuber either.
Didn't see Stuber, but I can already tell you that that's not going to be in there.
It was going to be garbage.
That movie's going to be in the same category as like Central Intelligence, Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, just all those comedies where it's like a decent cast of people that are funny, but the movie's just not that good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I think that's it. I think it's what we got to say there. Just a couple more things. We saw the Mandalorian trailer.
Yes.
Did that do anything for you?
did a lot for me, honestly. Went from 6 to midnight, and then I went from midnight to 6 when I found out it was a TV show. So
You hit the smallest thing, just like completely derailed.
Oh yeah, you've never done that. You've never let the smallest thing derail you ever. You went on a 20-minute rant about how Seth Rogen likes weed. Like,
Bro, it's in every movie.
he's a stoner. What do you
He
expect?
plays a CGI sausage and they smoke something.
There you go. Shocker that a stoner likes weed in his movies.
It's just, God, dude, I don't know.
But anyway, back to what we were just saying about Mandalorian. So, what character does Pedro Pascal play?
I don't know. He just plays a bounty hunter.
Okay, so he's like the main bounty hunter. He's, I guess, the Mandalorian. Is the Mandalorian a bounty hunter? What is the Mandalorian?
Mandalore is the planet of bounty hunters.
Oh,
So he's like, I guess, one of the main ones.
that's been like very briefly referenced throughout the Star Wars saga.
Yeah.
They're like they've said Mandalorian in a Star Wars movie.
They say it in like, I think they say it in episode 2 when he's like, yeah, we got a Mandalorian bounty hunter and we cloned him. And it's like, that's it.
Okay, exactly. It's the exact same way that in the old Star Wars, Han Solo's like, I made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, and then we have to make the whole Solo movie about that.
Yes.
Like, it's this one obscure reference from a movie 30 years ago. We have to
It's
make
about
sure
getting
we...
the fuel, dude.
Yeah, we have to make sure... I just hate how, like, of all the things they can make a storyline on, like, it has to be something so minor. Like, the one reference from one movie. But either way, no, so that's what I kept trying to ask you and Jordan, and I wasn't able to phrase it to where you guys can answer my question. But Mandalorian is the planet, and so Pedro Pascal is potentially maybe top bounty hunter from that planet or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Speculation?
Speculation, yeah. He's probably the top one. I wonder if we'll see his face. I wonder if he'll be, like, weird looking or something. I don't know. There's some cool action in it. I love when the robot's just shooting, like, all around it and isn't even looking.
Yeah.
I love it when he shoots the door and basically, like, cuts that guy in half.
Yeah.
Pulling him back in.
Yep.
Other than that, it looks kind of bland.
What looks bland?
Just the trailer for it looked kind of bland. Like, because they were on, like, a sand planet again, and it's, like, dark colors and all that stuff. But it's a show, and they're gonna, they're gonna have another trailer for it. So, like, it's gonna probably show all this other stuff.
What I think is some of because the guys that we watched talk about it right after we watched the trailer. I mean, I thought they brought up a good point about how, the stormtroopers' heads on spikes and the dark coloring. I feel like it just kind of adds like a darker tone to the Star Wars universe. Something a little bit more brutal, which I would be game for. Like, I'm down for Star Wars to get a little darker, get a little more brutal, and just have more action and violence, and maybe get away from focusing so much on ideology of the Jedi and just the fuel, of course. Thank you for mouthing that to me.
Oh man,
dude. Okay, so real quick before I forget, because I almost forgot the most recent Star Wars movies. I believe. Oh God, I guess it's. I want to say it's Episode 8 and Rogue One. and now Mandalorian, or it might be in Solo, but let's just go with Rogue One. The love interest, Poe, that's what it is. Poe from the trilogy that we're on, the dude that is helping the chick in Rogue One, I guess they're like the love interest, they die together at the end on the beach, and now Pedro Pascal. Isn't it weird that all three of those guys have like the exact same characteristics? Now, granted, they don't look like twins or anything, but all three of those guys are like dark-skinned dudes that like look white, but they're not white. They all have dark hair and like the same haircut and like potential for like a mustache or no mustache, but they all have like the same characteristics. Is that not weird?
It is weird because I felt like you would kind of go with the dad from Aquaman plays Django or whatever in the prequels. He plays the bounty. He plays the blue bounty hunter
Okay. In what movie?
in Aquaman. The dad from Aquaman.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
He plays, and he's like
He plays in Mandalorian.
Hawaiian-esque, but like I'm getting there. He plays the bounty hunter in episode 2.
Oh, okay.
And like we never see what Boba Fett looks like
Right.
in the original trilogy, so we
Right.
kind of assume he looks the same because he's like his son, a clone from him, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think and he's like Hawaiian-ish, I would say, something
Yeah.
like that.
You're right, because he looks the same as all of these other guys too.
Yeah, I would have thought that the planet would have been like nothing but like islander race, most.
Or maybe it's because it's a sand planet. They're all like Arabic, almost in a way.
Yeah,
like
I
just
would've-
darker skin.
I would have
because
figured that. It is kind of weird. It's weird that they picked Pedro Pascal's for this. I just like he's not really the lead in anything.
But I think it's his time because he's been a solid supporting actor in a lot of stuff lately. And not that he came out of nowhere, but in my opinion, he came out of nowhere because I had never heard of him before or
Yeah.
never seen him before. And next thing you know, I'm seeing him in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think he's been in enough stuff now to where he's, I guess, ready to lead something.
So this begs the question: how is it going to Pedro Pascal if he is
Pedro
the main
Pascal.
the main character?
Wait, where he's the buddy that screws you over?
Yeah,
I mean,
he could still do it.
he can still screw people over, I guess. He can still be a friend to somebody and
But we
screw
got to be
them
seeing
over.
it coming from a mile away.
Of course. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully it's blatantly obvious.
But the show looks good. Like it looks like a movie, honestly, in terms
Exactly.
of like how good the quality is.
Yep.
How good the CGI and all that is. There's like space battles and stuff. But you're bugged that it's a show. I'm kind of with you.
Exactly. And the only reason why is because, how long are the episodes going to be? Because
Hour.
they are going to be hour long.
I would bet a lot of money it's going to be an hour.
The problem I have with things like that, and now granted I'm going to contradict myself as always, but like, I feel like in a show like that, 30 minutes isn't long enough. But then at the same time, like when you're doing hour-long episodes like that, each episode is almost its own movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know how they're going to translate that writing to give it a nice flow from episode to episode. I just can't imagine, I guess, because the way the trailer looks, it looks like a movie. So I'm like, how are they going to break this up into episodes?
Yeah. And it looks like it's going to have that problem that a lot of shows have, where it's just like you drag everything out, and it's just like God,
That's what I was trying to get
just
to. Is they're going
the
to
freaking point.
Yeah, they're going to do a lot of dragging out. They're like, well, we have to fill this whole season, so like the most epic stuff's going to be at the beginning and the end, and you're just having to sit through the middle of the season of him talking to whoever and traveling here, and you're like, okay, can we finally get to the part that I know is going to happen instead of having these 2 or 3 filler episodes? I can't stand
of
filler
filler,
episodes,
yeah.
and I just don't know how they're going to not have filler episodes.
I hope it's 6 episodes. I hope it's like, because it's not going to be any less than that. It's going to be like 6 to 10.
And
I'm
maybe
hoping
they
it's
just go
6.
all out, too. Because that's kind of become a thing now, where these TV shows will get, like, these big plots, big actors, and they'll just make amazing content, but it's only for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll do that.
Well, there's already season 2 coming.
Yeah. But, I mean, like Wet Hot American Summer, for example. I mean, maybe not the perfect example, but it's, like, a huge cast of actors. To me, it's hilarious. And they pumped out 2 seasons like pretty quickly, and that's it. Like it's done. And maybe they'll do something like that with some of these shows. They'll just put out just basically 2 to 4 seasons of just amazing content, and not have any fat, not have any filler. But the story ends. They're like, "Yep, this is all we got." I mean, I would almost rather have less less overall content, but it all be good, than have like a good show that just has way too much filler.
Because you ideally want to rewatch it, and it's like, do I really want to rewatch episodes 1 and 3 when they're just setting up and there's no fighting and it's not really interesting at all?
Exactly.
And it's just like, I don't know. But yeah, there's something about it where it's just harder to watch these kinds of shows instead of just sitting down like, yeah, let's watch a movie. Because you know they're going to start a story and end a story in that movie.
Yep.
And whereas an episode could achieve nothing.
It could.
Yeah.
And then the other problem I have too is with hour-long episodes is if the episode is great,
Yeah.
and they leave you with that cliffhanger, and you're like, well, fuck, I don't have another hour to watch the next episode. Mm-hmm. Or you're like, oh yeah, I'll waste another hour of my day, and the next episode like totally is underwhelming compared to the cliffhanger in the previous episode.
Yeah.
I get tired of stuff like that, and that's why I would prefer a movie, and it's whatever. And it's just another show that I'm never going to get around to,
Yeah.
or I'm going to watch it and not watch all the other stuff that I'm trying to get around to.
I'm going to make you watch it probably.
I mean, of course, we're not going to live together. I was going to say that could be a show that we watch like together, but we'll just have to watch it at the same time and basically.
I'll come back for Thanksgiving. We can maybe shotgun it over that break.
So the trip that you're on now, is this your Labor Day trip?
No, Labor Day trip's late. I'm coming back next weekend.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, back to the show. Maybe we can do that though. We'll both actively watch the show, and whether we're like in the same city or not, maybe review it episode by episode, or something like that.
Yeah, depending on if it's like, I don't know if it's good or not. If it's like awful and we fall off the first episode, maybe just record that one and then just like move on to something else.
Well, we have to give it a few episodes because I've never been crazy about the first episode of pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's true. They don't get that. We need them to get in there and establish the fuel.
Yeah.
Need that to be established.
I'm interested to see where fuel comes into this.
I was asking Jordan about something. I already told you this, but I was asking Jordan something about something. Like, I don't know, man. You should ask Money, like, what his opinion is on that. And it was a completely different topic. It was, like, economy or something. And he's like, Money would just say that the oil industry is out to get us through the movie companies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Are they not? Watch Vice. Dude, watch Vice.
I'll watch it.
Watch Vice literally confirms everything that I, like, rant about. Like, there's just too many people, like, pretty much the people with power and money are making these decisions, and they're influencing stuff, and they control the media, and a lot of, maybe not control the media, but just, if you're that high up, man, like, you have all the power. And that's basically, like, what they did in Vice. They were, like, they made the war in Iraq happen for oil. They cover that in the movie. They're like, yeah, Osama bin Laden, he's a bad guy. And they're like, yeah, he's in Afghanistan and Pakistan and yada yada, and like literally the politician is like, yeah, but what about Iraq though? Verbatim, that's what he says, and they're like, what are you talking about? He's in Afghanistan and Pakistan. You know, him and his Al Qaeda or whatever, they're a problem. And then like it's Steve Carell's character, who's the politician. He's like, Iraq though? What about Iraq? You know, what if he goes to Iraq? Or what about Saddam in Iraq, right? And like they made up the whole story of weapons of mass destruction. You know, just because they wanted to get in there and get the fuel.
Just like Star Wars.
Exactly.
So last thing to talk about, Spider-Man's no longer in the MCU.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it?
I'm very, I guess, confused by it, and I know you're going to know more of the technical stuff.
They had a 5-film deal,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a clause in there to where, no, there was a 6-film. There's a 6-film deal, and the clause was that if this Spider-Man movie didn't make $1 billion, Sony had the right to just pull the character if they wanted to. Far From Home.
I know. Did it not make $1 billion?
No, it did.
Okay.
So like they made that.
Didn't they break the clause then?
Yeah, that's not in there anymore. But now they were negotiating over the summer to like extend the deal because the deal's basically up. It's almost over, basically.
Oh.
And they never came to a conclusion. Like they never reached anything. And from what I hear, I don't know if it's true or not, but basically what they were doing was Disney owns all the rights to all the merchandise from the film. And then Sony owns 95% of the profits from the film. And Disney gets 5%. Disney wanted 50% of the profits from the film.
So Sony just made 95% of $1 billion plus because...
Yeah.
Because of what Marvel did, though.
Like that's the thing is Marvel's making this movie. Like Kevin Feige's over there the crews are over there. They're working on this movie. They're the ones that are really, because you can just tell like this movie isn't a Sony movie.
So it's one of those things to where MCU's putting it together and doing all the work. They're only getting 5% of the movie itself, and they're probably using Sony cameras to shoot the movie, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that I think that Sony's probably helping them make the movie, but there's two things there. I feel like it's just 5% is too little, but 50% is too much because it's their character and it's all their equipment and all that stuff, and they're probably helping you make the movie anyway. And why would it be their character, but you get half the profits from the movie? You're already getting all the merchandise. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't they have just gone like? Why do they have to go from 5 to 50%? Why couldn't they have just gone like, give us 25?
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems fair for everyone. And it's just like,
But why does Sony get so much of it? Just because they
own it. And it's just like Marvel's like, we want this character, we want to use this character, and they're like, they're the ones that have the power. Basically, they're like, yeah, you can use our character.
Why not just sell the rights to the character for like $1 billion?
It would be way more than that. It would be like 10 or 20 billion.
To just sell the rights of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, even the Andrew Garfield one made like $800 million.
And they sucked.
They did, yeah. And like, oh yeah, Far From Home is the highest grossing Sony movie ever in the history of the studio. It beat Skyfall, which was I was surprised by.
I didn't realize Skyfall was Sony. I guess I forgot. But that's the other thing that's confusing too, is there's Sony, and then there's like Columbia, which is a Sony company,
yeah,
or something like that.
I think the way with James Bond is it's like a public property, and you buy the rights to it. You like rent the rights to it. You know, like we want it for 10 years. So Sony bought it for 10 years, and then they did all the Daniel Craig movies.
Oh, okay.
So I think multiple companies have made Bond movies. Like, it's not a property that can be bought. It's just like you rent it. Like, only we can make it for 10 years.
That's weird.
Yeah, I think that's how it works, though.
For Bond, though, but not for everybody else.
No. But there's other properties like that, like Frankenstein and stuff like that. Like, things that are, like...
Constantly remade.
Like
yeah.
things that have been around forever.
Yeah.
Like, Robin Hood can be made by anyone.
Yep.
And everybody will make it until there's a good one.
What about Godzilla?
No. Yeah, I think you have to buy that. Because...
It's been around forever.
Yeah, but it's a Japanese thing. I don't know why. I don't know how that works actually. Because Legendary made one and Lionsgate made one, and those are two different companies. So I don't know how that works. But anyway, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a shame, just because I liked all of these Spider-Man movies. These are my favorite. Well, they're fantastic Spider-Man movies, and I hate the fact that we have such a great thing here in the MCU and Spider-Man. All this good stuff's going on, and it has to get bogged down and ruined by business.
Yeah.
And who's going to make the most money, and it's just kind of exhausting. And it also bums me out because when are they going to figure this stuff out? You know what I mean? I'm dying for Spider-Man 3 right now. Far From Home left so much to be done, and if they never make a sequel to it,
I never thought about that. That's gonna really suck.
It'd really suck if we never get to have the continuation of what happened in Far From Home. I mean, to me, that alone like breaks my heart. It's just awful because him being in the Avengers and whatever. I mean, we've seen so many superhero movies and we've seen so much of the Avengers, and they're so good at introducing new heroes and casting them that part really doesn't bother me. It just bothers me the fact that Far From Home was so good and had such a great ending that we might not get to see a sequel to it. And to me, it definitely deserves a sequel. This could be the Spider-Man 3 that Spider-Man 3 should have been.
Yeah.
And that's really what bothers me the most.
It bothers me because I almost for the opposite reason, because I really want to see him eventually. I want to see him in then like Avengers 5. I want to see him be the leader, basically
next Tony Stark.
Fill Tony Stark's shoes. Not Iron Man's, because I know a lot of people have a problem with that, but Tony Stark's.
And you're right, that'd be great too, and I'd be definitely on board for that.
But that's a good point. Yeah, I really want to see the end of that.
Yeah, because now we know Spider-Man's identity. And
where's that going to go? There's so many interesting things that can be done. But now, if he stays with Sony, we could finally get a good Venom and Spidey movie.
And that'd be great too. And again, why can't all of that be done? I mean, if they're going to share everything anyway and all this stupid stuff...
They only share Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why. Because
okay, well, so can they do this? If they pulled it back can they still cast Tom Holland and make Spider-Man 3?
Yes.
It would just not be the MCU.
Yeah.
So we run the risk of it not being as good.
There's a quote that says, "I don't know what's gonna." He's like, "I don't know what's gonna happen next." Like Tom Holland, he's like, "I don't know what's gonna happen next. All I know is I'm gonna continue to be Spider-Man, and we're gonna do new and different things with him, and it's gonna be awesome." And he's like, "I love you 3000." That's what he says to like. He's like at the convention or whatever. And so like, there's a lot of things in that. He's like, "I'm still gonna be Spider-Man, so no matter what, he's gonna be Spider-Man."
Okay.
Number two, he references the MCU, which is like a lot of people think this deal is gonna get done though. A lot of people think like eventually it's gonna happen, just because people are like, "This is fucking bullshit."
Yeah, because it's so stupid that they can't get a deal done. And
honestly, if you can't even get like, if you have to take 5%, which I think is stupid, like Disney should be making more than 5% on this. Just take it. You made all the money this year anyway.
Yeah,
what do you need more money for?
They're making endless money.
But I understand you're like, this is bullshit. We're doing all the work and we're getting 5%. Like,
yeah.
But you can't ask for half of it. You know, like meet in the middle somewhere. Like it's basic, like negotiation. Meet in the damn middle.
Well, the middle is 50-50.
Yeah, but I'm
60-40, 70-30. I mean, they could do anything.
Yeah,
even 80-20. But anything's better than 5%, because 5% does seem awfully low, considering MCU is getting all the credit for how good these movies are.
Yeah.
Like, I've never spoken to anyone, they're like, man, love that half Marvel, half Sony movie Spider-Man. Like, Sony is never mentioned in layman's. I mean, people who are more knowledgeable of the subject might be, but, like, your average fan is just like, yeah, Marvel, MCU, Disney.
And you just had the highest grossing film ever, the highest grossing Spider-Man film ever, and the highest grossing movie of all time, because you had this deal together.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you didn't have Spider-Man and Avengers 4, it might still have like broken the record, but maybe not. You know, maybe people want to see Spider-Man come back.
Exactly. And I mean, he played a pretty big part in the Marvel and Avengers movies, and kind of coming up in the ranks with Tony Stark. So you would think Sony would be like, yeah, we kind of need you guys because you're making way better movies than we ever did. But I don't know. Maybe maybe they've learned. Maybe they know how to make a movie now, and they think they can do it on their own now. And if they do, and they do a good job, great. I don't really care. I just want the third movie. I just want quality Spider-Man movies, and so on and so forth.
I wonder. I guess they could do it. They could do it together. I guess they could still do the same story from Far From Home, because they use, but they couldn't have Happy in it, and they couldn't have any reference to Tony Stark, and they couldn't have any reference to the Snap, so they couldn't do it, because that's like everything about that movie is like 5 years later.
See, that's so dumb. So yeah, they need to work out this deal then.
Yeah. And see, like, I still don't know if they can make a good movie or not, because I'm like, Venom wasn't that good. I didn't like Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2 all that much, honestly.
Nope.
Spider-Verse was dope, though, so I don't know.
That was Sony?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe they've learned from their ways. Who knows? But Venom was pretty disappointing.
I'm ready for that sequel, though.
What, Carnage?
Yeah. Apparently Andy Serkis is going to direct it.
Who's that?
The guy who basically does all the motion capture for, like, Lord of the Rings, and he's always the monkeys. Oh, Andy Serkis, he's the Claw in Black Panther.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they said Black Panther 2 is coming in like 2022.
What year are we in? We're not even in 2020 yet,
Yeah,
so
I
I mean that means like all those people are going to be 3 years older at that point.
Yeah, I don't understand why that movie's like so successful and there's not a sequel going to be made like next year.
Yeah, you figured. Yeah, considering how much money they made, yeah, you figured they'd make a sequel a little bit quicker, but maybe the script's not right. Because is Black Panther 2 wasn't included in Phase 4?
No, but they announced that over the weekend.
Announced Black Panther 2 over the weekend?
Yeah.
And, whatever, I don't know. Like, the Black Panther movie is good. We've talked about it, all this stuff before on previous episodes. Go check us out. Decent show. We ranked all the MCU movies. But at the same time, I haven't been like demanding that they make a second one. I just figured they would because of the success of the first one. But Michael B. Jordan's not going to be in it.
Never know. They might bring him back.
Do we want that?
No, it'd be stupid.
Exactly. So, yeah, Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other, I guess, thoughts or topics on either Good Boys or the superhero movies or just anything that we've been talking about?
Nah, not really.
And it gets hot and sweaty and stanky. There's some stank on that love.
What are you talking about?
Let's put it this way, I'd be busting nuts like a squirrel.
Oh, no, we don't have conversations like that over dinner.
What are you doing?
I'm addressing the white elephant in the room. I'm breaking down the barriers of race by assimilation. That's all I'm doing.
You're coming off like a jerk.
I think it's going well.
If you haven't noticed, we don't progress like that.
Okay. Look at Big Papa down here. He's saying to himself, shit, look at this honky. Sitting at my table eating my food in my house? Touching my daughter? I have touched your daughter.
Honey.
We have done things, Papa. You ain't gonna like.